Welcome to Inside the Capitol, your weekly update on what's happening in our state government through a Catholic lens. This week, hundreds of Minnesota Catholics spoke out to help defeat a bill that would have expanded gambling in Minnesota.
The next bill on the calendar for the day is House File 1415.
Members, House File 1415 is a daily fantasy sports bill.
The bill ran into bipartisan opposition backed by the Minnesota Catholic Conference and other religious organizations.
And I have distributed a letter from the Joint Religious Legislative Coalition to the body. That includes the Council of Churches, the Catholic Conference, the Jewish Community Relations Council, and the Islamic Center of Minnesota.
Democrats and Republicans shared concerns that daily fantasy sports gambling would negatively impact their constituents.
And my concern with this is that we have many of our constituents that have issues with compulsive gambling. And we need more resources in the state to address this.
We used to define it as a vice in our society, okay? And it's addictive, and it ruins people's lives, it ruins their marriages. In some cases, it leads to criminal behavior. And again, I did 13 years of jail ministry. I had people in jail who got addicted to gambling and did criminal behavior to try to support that habit. And I don't think we should be in the business of expanding that. We should be educating people, especially our young people, on the negative consequences.
Representatives on both sides of the political aisle expressed concerns over the online sports gambling industry.
The corruption and fraud accusations for this industry are everywhere, and we are not sufficiently providing protection to Minnesotans who choose to bet on daily sports gambling entities, and for that reason I will be a no.
I'm not hearing support for this bill anywhere from any of my constituents, not one. And the silence is deafening. And the reality is, this is full of swamp water. We have muddied interests bringing this forward to support their future, and they're going to fence out everybody else. That's what this bill does. This is bad for Minnesota, bad for our constituents, and it deserves to be defeated. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Seeing no further discussion, the clerk will take the roll on the bill.
The votes came in with a wide margin of opposition to the proposed legislation.
There being 48 ayes and 74 nays, the bill does not pass.
Here, you can see just how opposition for this bill crossed party lines. Opposition of daily fantasy sports gambling evenly split the House Republican caucus along with a majority of Democrats. In this week's Action Alert, take a moment to thank representatives who voted against daily fantasy sports gambling. Head to mncatholic.org/action center and click on the Fantasy Sports Gambling banner. From there, you can send your representatives a message via email, Twitter, Facebook, or call their office. Now that there is less than a month left in the legislative session, many bills are making their way toward the finish line, but many more will never make it that far. To help you better understand the legislative process and how a bill does become a law, until next week, we leave you with this short video on the legislative process.
Our government is made up of laws. Laws begin as ideas. Turning an idea into a law begins when one or more state legislators decides to sponsor a bill. They work with the Office of Reviser of Statutes to write the idea down and create a bill. Usually an identical bill, called a companion bill, is then introduced in the other legislative body. The separate bills are given their first public reading and sent to the appropriate House or Senate committees. A bill concerning public schooling, for example, will be sent to the Education Committee. The committees review the bill and hear from public experts and regular citizens about why they do or do not support the bill. At the end of the hearing, they either approve or disapprove of the bill being sent to a full House or Senate for a vote. If the committee approves, the bill is brought to the floor for a debate and vote. Before and during the vote, regular citizens like you and me can talk to our senators and House representatives about why we like or dislike the bill. These discussions can impact how senators and representatives vote on a bill. It takes 68 votes for a bill to pass in the House of Representatives and 34 votes for one to pass in Senate. If both bodies pass the same bill, it will be sent to the governor's desk. If the House and Senate do not pass the same bill, the bill passed by one body is sent to a conference committee comprising senators and representatives. The conference committee reconciles differences between the House and Senate bills and sends it back to both houses for another vote. If one or both bodies votes not to pass the bill is returned to the conference committee for further revision. If both bodies do pass the bill, it is sent to the governor to be signed into law. When a bill gets to the governor's desk, the governor has three options: sign the bill into law, veto the bill within 3 days, or passively accept the law by not signing it. If the governor vetoes the bill, the legislature has one last chance to make the bill law. They can override the governor's veto if 2/3 of each body votes to do so. If this happens, the bill becomes a law without the governor's consent. If the governor signs the bill or legislature overrides the governor's veto, the idea has completed its journey to becoming a law. Play your role in this process. Join the Minnesota Catholic Conference Catholic Advocacy Network today by going to mncc.org/action center.